Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Tech Talk here at MarketStream.live. My name is Joseph Cusick with the Cusick Group. Securities offered by MoneyBlock. Here to marry charts and option analysis, and I want to do it for two very notable names because they are going to have earnings next week, and then I also want to bring up a commodity that has been on everyone's radar. First, I want to talk about Morgan Stanley. Morgan Stanley is going to be reporting earnings next week, and after JP Morgan, after Wells Fargo, as well as Bank of America, reporting good earnings, except for the fact Wells Fargo did miss, but they're going to be doing a lot of cost cutting, which is going to be something that we're going to watch with these two names that we're going to talk about, Morgan Stanley and Goldman Sachs. We're going to see what kind of earnings they come out with and what are they looking at for 2017. First of all, Morgan Stanley, trading at $43.71, up about 8 cents today on the recent earnings announcements that have come out. The stock is up only about less than 0.2%. I'm looking at the options that are expiring next week, and it's pricing in basically a 3.5% move, either up or down, going into this event in Morgan Stanley. That means $1.55 in this $43 stock. That gives you a range of basically between 45 on the upside, and basically on the downside, you're looking at right around 41. There's been a lot of option activity in the January expiration cycle that's ending next week in that 45, 42, 43, 44 level, and on the 45 level. You've been seeing on both the calls and the puts, primarily 45s on the calls and 42s on the puts. The implied volatility rank is relatively low. It's at 20%. So that's telling me that there's not a heightened expectation of big violent moves in Morgan Stanley going into this event. Now, with that being said, we're going to watch some critical levels. We're going to watch 43.23. 43.23 is going to be that short-term trend line. We see that price broken. That means that the short-term trend to the upside is basically being challenged. 41.05. That is going to be where intermediate or institutional support comes into play. A break there means that both the short and intermediate terms trend is in question, and if it happens with volume, I would say there might even be a shift. 31.73 is the long-term support level. That's basically anybody that's been getting into the stock for the last 200 plus days has been getting in at lower prices than where it's currently trading today. The only thing that you're going to see there is if it challenges that level, you could see that buyers at lower levels might want to reload because they feel it's a good value, or they're starting to question whether or not they should stay into the trade. It is 5% off of its 52-week high, so it has had an impressive run post-election, so a pullback wouldn't be so illogical at this point, especially walking into the inauguration next week and all of the new policies that are going to be coming down the pike that should be beneficial with deregulation and so forth. Plus, Morgan already had announced that they were going to do a lot of cost cutting. They cut bonuses. They're already cutting headcount. So they already announced this earlier in Q3, Q4. So there's a lot of anticipation of what could come up on the horizon. So we'll watch that closely. Goldman Sachs, again, another firm that, unlike the traditional banks, Morgan Stanley and Goldman Sachs don't have the benefits of other business units other than basically their trading units. And Goldman Sachs right now is trading at $243.95, basically 5% off its 52-week high, up 11 cents today. The options that are expiring next week are pricing in that the stock could have a range of right around 3.7%, either up or down over the next 7 days and going into this event. That's a $9 move being priced into this stock. With this 3.5%, 3.7% move being priced in, I immediately look at implied volatility, and the rank is low. Right now, there's not a heightened expectation of a big violent move either up or down at Goldman Sachs going into this announcement. Now, of course, we have a long weekend. There's a lot of headline risk, so we're going to take that with a grain of salt, but that's what they're pricing in. Critical levels that you're going to want to watch on Goldman Sachs, 241.60, 224.50, and 177.60. Now, those are quite a bit of ways. The short term is about 2 points away. We're going to watch that short-term level. If that's challenged, we're going to want to watch to see if institutions come in with a pullback and those the buyers on the dip come in, so to speak. And we're going to watch that very closely on Goldman. Finally, I want to take a look at a commodity gold. We've been talking about the gold miners. I want to talk about the actual commodity. We're going to take a look at GLD, trading at 114.15 today. It's bounced back quite nicely. Gold has been challenging the futures contract. The physical has been challenging that 1200 level. GLD is right now trading at 114.50 up 25 cents. Right now, the options that are expiring next week are pricing in the potential between now and expiration next week of a range of about 1.5%, or basically $1.75. That means you could see GLD up as high as right around 116, or you could see it down as low as right around that 112.75 level. Implied volatility rank is extremely low. They're 3%. So there's not a heightened expectation of huge violent moves in gold right now. 110, 113, and 120. Clearly, gold has been in a downtrend overall, but it has gotten its short-term mojo and its mid-term mojo to the upside. It broke 110, got above 113. So now you're seeing some momentum to the upside in gold. Let's see if it goes up and tries to challenge 120. If it does, that could mean that there's a risk-off trade, and we're going to watch that very closely. All right, folks, that's it for Tech Talk. Gave you some transparency, gave you some critical levels that you can look at, as well as some ranges going into these earnings announcements for Morgan Stanley and Goldman Sachs. If you have any questions, you can always email us at info@MarketStream.live. That's info@MarketStream.live. Until then, and until I see your questions, I'll be back on at 4:30 Eastern Time to wrap up this week's trading activity. So join us here at 4:30 Eastern Time at MarketStream.live. Thanks.